The first day of the 2016 Reebok CrossFit Games kicked off at 3:30 a.m. Wednesday, when athletes met with Dave Castro at the Manhattan Beach Marriott.
All right, here's what's gonna happen next. You guys are gonna get on the bus, load it up, and we're gonna get ready to take you guys to LAX to get your boarding passes. Prep your bags for a flight. So no liquids, carry-on only. You're not gonna have the opportunity to check anything on.
Smart money's on us going to Aromas.
I'm not even from the West Coast, so I have no idea where we could be flying to.
As the athletes made their way from the hotel to LAX, there was widespread speculation on where they were going and what they would be doing.
We'll probably do like a repeat of one of the games or something. Who knows?
I kind of guess we would be going to Aromas since we had the long pants and gloves because of that poison ivy or poison oak or something that was there.
Everyone is allowed one person ride, no one carry on.
The 7K trail run, the deadlift ladder, the sandbag run, and the row with the stake into the ground.
Speculation continued as veterans and rookies guessed what kind of events they might face.
You know what I really hope is that he pulls a workout out of the hopper.
I think it's going to be a straight up ruck run, man. Straight up ruck run.
I'm not sure how many events were from the first game, but do all of them today, just there.
When was the last time you were out here?
2009. We may or may not be repeating some things.
After athletes filed off the bus at the ranch in Aromas, California, the tasks they would face were finally revealed.
The first two events are a repeat of the 2009 CrossFit Games first two events, but the run is slightly different. I made it more difficult, and the deadlift ladder is much heavier.
Athletes lined up at the start just 30 minutes after being told exactly what they were going to be facing, a 7K trail run over some very treacherous terrain.
John, for old fans and new fans alike, this is special. Not only have the 2016 athletes come to where the CrossFit Games were born, but they face some of the elements from the first three CrossFit Games ever.
We've had off-site events before the CrossFit Games, but this is the first time we've gone really off-site.
This is the 7th year in a row that Southern California has hosted the CrossFit Games. The StubHub Center just south of Los Angeles is our home base. But today, the athletes travel 300 miles north to the birthplace of the CrossFit Games, the ranch in Aromas, California. This is the location for the opening individual events at the 2016 Reebok CrossFit Games. The Ranch Trail Run is the first event. All 40 men and 40 women will compete together on this 7-kilometer route that consists of 3 main sections. The road section is a 1-kilometer round trip from the ranch shed to the end of the paved road. Competitors will travel this flat section 3 times, including the finish of the event. Hill Section 1 starts with a 1,200-foot steady uphill climb until the real challenges begin. Steep drop-ins await, followed by a long, punishing return climb. A second trip on the road marks the halfway point of the event. Hill Section 2 climbs the North Trail up the first rise, then a rapid descent plunges into the arroyo. A quick transition to a sheer slope follows, where the incline approaches 50 degrees. At the top, athletes turn around and come back on a slightly altered return route. One last round trip down the road is the final section of the event as the finish line awaits back at the shed.
Right after the athletes finished that run on the paved section, things started to slow down significantly, and this wasn't even the worst incline on the entire course. Out front for the men, Josh Bridges, Matt Fraser, Alex Anderson, Jacob Hepner, and Alex Vigneault.
Surely everything to this point was difficult, but it could still be considered a warm-up in comparison to what the athletes face next. In this section, they cross the same creek bed twice, but on the first crossing, they'll actually travel along the creek bottom in what looks like a slot canyon with barely any more room than 2 people, and the entrance and exit are extremely steep.
And athletes had to carefully navigate this section of the course, and this was the first look that they had at the terrain, offering them a very significant challenge, many of them down to a walk, as Josh Bridges took a slight lead over Matt Fraser. Alex Anderson was there as well, but it was Bridges and Fraser out front early.
No surprise to me that Josh Bridges is there, but watching Matt Fraser push his pace at this point in the race, I was concerned he had gone out too fast.
There were judges placed throughout the course not only to help the athletes know where to go, but also to help them know what to expect and how to deal with it.
Take it easy. Slow it down right here. We got the rocks right here, all right?
Matt Fraser attacking the course with reckless abandon as he led the way through one of the many bottlenecks on the course, the area of this trail known as the Rock.
Dave Castro intentionally diverted the athletes through this granite boulder fall that will lead them back across the creek. It's a very technical section with potentially tragic consequences if athletes don't respect it.
As Matt Fraser and the leading men started to separate themselves, the rest of the pack hit the rock, and a lot of them had to hit their backsides in order to navigate this thing successfully. Sam Briggs started to widen her lead and was catching up with the top men.
As we've seen in past events, Sean, Sam Briggs competing with the men as much as she's competing with the women.
Catherine Davidsdottir was towards the front of the pack for the women, as was Tanil Reed and Tia Claire Toomey. Back up front, Matt Fraser closing out his first loop, and those of us that were there, we were shocked to see the lead that he had over Josh Bridges.
I'm as guilty as anyone. I thought that Matt Fraser was a barbell guy because he grew up with one in his hands, but now we're seeing a rebuilt Matt Fraser. He's done well in events like this in the past, but he excelled at this trail run.
Matt Fraser starting his second trip down the paved portion. Bridges in second, Brent Fikowski in third. Anna Tunnicliffe has moved herself into second. No surprise, given how well Tunnicliffe has done in the past and in these longer endurance events. She's followed by Kristen Holta and Catherine Davidsdottir. Matt Fraser had already started the second loop, and this is what stood ahead of him.
On the backside, this section is identical to the way it was in 2009. It's steep and slippery and treacherous. You can't read a manual on how to navigate land like this, so it's easy to pick out the athletes who know what they're doing.
There was nobody within shouting distance of Matt Fraser as he zigzagged his way down that descent and into the arroyo. Behind him, Josh Bridges was all by himself in second place, and then Brent Fikowski was in third at that point. Matt Fraser, the first man to reach that final incline, and Rory, he was on all fours at times trying to scramble up that hill.
55 degrees, let's put that into perspective. I spent some good years in Jackson Hole, one of the steepest mountains in North America, and their average steepness of their slopes is 50 degrees.
Fraser, the first man to get to the top, and he would head right back down the path that he just navigated. And the good news for Matt Fraser is that all he had to deal with here was the terrain. He did not have to deal with the other competitors working their way up. Sam Briggs continued to lead as she started the approach towards that final climb that Matt Fraser just finished. And like Matt Fraser, Sam Briggs had a gigantic lead over the rest of the field, as the closest women to her were just starting to navigate that rapid descent. 2015 Games champion Catherine Davidsdottir was among that group. Josh Bridges got to the top in second place for the men, and he started his way back down. Sam Briggs continued to pass more and more male competitors as she was the first woman up that hill. Brent Fikowski was in third place behind Josh Bridges. And on the way down, not only did the terrain present a challenge, but also the other competitors on the course.
Yeah, the course is clearly marked, but let's call this controlled chaos. And at this point, you can see what a favor Matt Fraser did to himself by being so far ahead. Here's what I love the most about bringing the athletes to Aromas. This sport has gotten athletes so used to having their lunch packed and their favorite shoes and their coaches coaching. Now we see how you do when you're pulled out of your comfort zone and put some dirt in your face.
The rapid descent on the second loop quickly turned into a rapid incline for Matt Fraser as he continued to lead by a wide margin and trudge his way back towards the ranch. This is an exact replay of what we saw happen in 2009.
That's right. Again, the broad brushstrokes are there, but how you get up and how you get down besides that is up to you. And again, look at the dirt being kicked up here. Lots of these athletes came away with what looked like a chocolate milk mustache, but it was dirt caked on their face.
Louis LeBlanc-Bazinet was fighting her way up the hill. Emily Bridgers and Noah Olson, one of the men who led on the initial run on that paved section, fell back into the pack. Ben Smith was one of the men who did this event back in 2009. He stayed towards the front of that pack that was behind the leaders. He started to make his return trip back to the ranch. And then Annie Thorisdottir and Sarah Sigmundsdottir right next to each other as they continue the battle that they started at regionals. Matt Fraser on his final run down the paved portion of the course and there was nobody even close to him. Josh Bridges continued to work away in second place, starting his final run on the pavement as more athletes started to get closer to the finish, but it was Matt Fraser who would be the first man across the finish line. 34 minutes, 10.27 seconds for Fraser. It's his third career event win at the CrossFit Games, and he locks up 100 points. Josh Bridges would finish in second place. Bridges a time of 35 minutes, 30.24 seconds, and he would get 94 points. Sam Briggs continues to pass male competitors on her final run on the paved section. She gets past Brent Fikowski, and Briggs is the third person across the finish line. She wins the event for the women. She gets a time of 36 minutes, 8.65 seconds. That's good for her 8th career win at the CrossFit Games. Brent Fikowski was clearly feeling the effects of this event, but his effort was good enough for 3rd overall. Kristen Holta would come in second place for the women, 36 minutes, 54.61 seconds. Defending champ Ben Smith would finish in 11th place, 37 minutes, 15.49 seconds. For the women, it was Christy Aramo finishing in 3rd, the rookie with a time of 37 minutes, 50.61 seconds. And then Catherine Davidsdottir, great result for her. She would finish in 4th place, 38 minutes, 27.21 seconds. Back on the course on the final leg, Sarah Sigmundsdottir and Annie Thorisdottir battling with each other again. Sigmundsdottir slightly ahead of Annie Thorisdottir. Sarah would finish in 11th. Annie would come across the finish line in 12th.
We were both at the Meridian Regional, and these two were the story in that regional where they were trading blows the entire time. Cool to see them continuing that battle here.
Mere seconds separated them at regionals. Only 6 seconds separated them in this event. The final results for the men, Matt Fraser, the only man to go sub 35 minutes. He gets the event win. 2 rookies in the top 5, Brent Fikowski and Adrian Moonweiler. Josh Bridges holds on to second place. Matt Fraser earns 100 points with the hard-fought win.
This last uphill is steep, very steep, kind of all fours, and get up to the flagpole, you got to touch the rock. And there's a bit of a trail going down the other side, and then they said, nope, turn right back around, go back down the way you came up. And he's like, I don't want to. That was really steep.
Final results for the women. It's Samantha Briggs picking up the victory as she edges out fellow Meridian competitor Kristen Holta. Rookie Christy Aramo is in 3rd. Davidsdottir is in 4th, followed by Candace Wagner. And that wrapped up the first of 3 events on Wednesday in Aromas.